Hi, my name is Lindsay Irvin, and this is my Literacy Inquiry Plan of Instruction for Major Assignment 2, Part 5. So my literacy question is how to teach word study to upper elementary students significantly below grade level that struggle with decoding multisyllabic words. My research began when I found this article titled Decoding and Fluency, Foundation Skills for Struggling Older Readers. This is a scholarly article which I found on the JSTOR database from Rowan University's library. This article identified various research-validated programs that are used to instruct struggling readers in the areas of decoding and fluency. After reading this article, I noted the importance of fluency to increase reading rates. Therefore, I have added the fluency aspect into my inquiry as well. Below you will find some of the research-based programs that were mentioned in this article. Under decoding, we have the language program, the rewards program, and the corrective reading program. Under fluency, the article mentions the Great Leaps program as well as Read Naturally. Context. This plan of instruction will be taught to a small group of 3 fourth grade boys in a pull-out setting with a reading teacher. The fourth grade students are general education students that are reading 2 to 3 levels below grade level. The class will meet 5 days a week for a 45-minute block period of instruction. Even though research states that 60 minutes is needed for instruction, in the real classroom, I only have 45 with my students. If I was doing a mock inquiry, I would have my students for 60 minutes instead of the 45. Purpose, goals, and objectives. The purpose of this plan of instruction is for students to practice decoding multisyllabic words using research-based strategies in order to improve their decoding and oral reading fluency skills. My objective is students will be able to apply phonics and word analysis skills in decoding multisyllabic words. Students will be able to read orally with accuracy, appropriate rate, and expression on successive readings. Narrative description. The teacher will begin with explicit instruction based on the syllable type instruction strategy, which was one of the 3 approaches stated in my research-based article. I chose this approach over the other 2 because my students were already familiar with identifying syllables in words because we use the Foundations program as our phonics program in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade. The Foundations program is based off the Wilson Reading Program. For the fluency component of our lessons, students will be exposed to choral reading, partner reading, and repeated readings. The timeline for this plan of instruction will be over 4 weeks. Students will be introduced to 2 syllables a week, and week 4 will be a review. Students will also practice fluency at the last 10 minutes of each class. And that was stated in my article that in order to improve fluency, 10 minutes a day of fluency instruction is needed. So syllable type instructions. The student will be introduced to 2 syllable types every week. Week 1 will be closed and open syllables, as seen on this chart. Week 2 will be vowel combinations and R-controlled vowels. Week 3 will be vowel consonant E and consonant LE. Again, week 4 will be a review of the syllable types and then combining them with each other to form multisyllabic words. Again, the fluency aspect of this plan will be incorporated in the last 10 minutes of every lesson. Week 1. So, when we began this lesson, I actually was able to complete week 1 in my classroom last week. What I did first was I gave the boys a quick overview of the syllable types and presented them with this laminated chart that they kept at their seats as a reference. So on this chart we have the 6 syllable types that they will be learning. And we just quickly went through them just so that they know what they will be learning in this instructional plan. So week 1. So now I'm going to describe the first week of the plan, which I was able to complete in school. So week 1, I handed out the syllable type reference, as I just stated, and I began with the introduction of closed and open syllables. I began by introducing one-syllable closed syllable words, such as gum, as seen on the picture of the whiteboard. The students were reminded that closed syllable words have short vowels. I had the students practice these one-syllable closed words and had them scoop and mark the syllable, as seen in this picture. Next, the students were introduced to a two-syllable closed syllable, such as the word gumdrop, and the students received the word broken down onto 2 index cards. The students read each individual card and then slid the cards together to read the whole word. The students practiced writing the word on the whiteboard and scooped and marked the syllables. And I did the same thing for open syllables. Again, I introduced a one-syllable open syllable word and reminded the students that in open syllables, vowels are long and they say their names. So I introduced two-syllable words after that, such as the word photo on an index card. Students read each syllable separately and then slid them together. When we practiced on the whiteboards, the students were able to divide the word into syllables. And in photo, we have 2 open syllables where the O's say their name. So this is, in continuing with week 1, the students also completed a worksheet where they broke down 2-syllable words into each syllable and identified the syllable type. So, for example, I know it's hard to see in this picture, but I gave the word absent, and the students had to break down ab plus sent equals absent. And then we orally went through this, and I had them tell me which syllable types were present on this worksheet, whether it was 2 closed syllables or 2 open syllables. Next, what we did was we read a word list out loud orally of open and closed syllable words for accuracy. So over here is an example of a word list I provided of closed syllables, and the students had to go through and read for accuracy. So they had to read ship, net, vest, den in order to become accurate in reading closed syllable words. Week 1 also had a fluency component, which was choral reading. And this is where the teacher and student read chorally using the word list, sentences, or paragraphs together. So next we have week 2. And I did not get to complete week 2 in the classroom yet, but in the plan, the students will be introduced to the vowel combination syllable and the R-controlled syllable. And what I have for this plan is that the students are just going to complete the week 1 activity. So they'll be introduced to a one-syllable word, practice on the whiteboards, practice scooping and marking it. Then they will be introduced to a 2-syllable word given on an index card where they have to identify each syllable and then slide them together to create the word. After that, they would mark the 2-syllable word. Same type of thing that we did in week 1, except now we're using different syllables. Same goes for the worksheet and word list. The students had to break up the 2-syllable types and identify each syllable type, and they also had to read accurately from a word list. The fluency component for week 2 will be repeated readings. The students will be giving a list of phrases or small passage to use for repeated readings at their independent level in order to practice oral reading fluency. Week 3, again, we're repeating that same activity from week 1. In week 3, the students will be introduced to vowel consonant E syllable and the consonant LE syllable. Again, students will be given a 1 to 2 syllable word for each syllable to practice on the whiteboards and to practice with the index card, combining syllables and reading them. For week 3, students will also complete a worksheet where they break the 2-syllable words into syllables and identify each syllable type. They will also practice reading vowel consonant E and consonant LE syllables for accuracy. The fluency component of week 3 is partner reading, and the students will engage in partner reading where they will read text with a peer partner. on their independent and instructional level. During this fluency section, I also will try to incorporate some comprehension strategies when the students are reading on their independent level. Week 4, again, we're keeping that same week 1 activity going, but now we're going to do a review of the 6 syllable types. So we are going to be combining some of the syllables. For example, the students might receive the word banjo to write on their whiteboards. Banjo has a closed syllable ban with a open syllable jo. So students will be having that word on an index card. They'll be able to identify which syllable is closed, which syllable is open, put them together, scoop, and mark it. And same for the word explode. X is a closed syllable, plode is a vowel consonant E syllable. The fluency component for week 4 is also going to be a review. The students will be practicing choral reading, partner reading, and repeated readings. Monday and Tuesday, I have them doing choral readings with the teacher. The teacher is reading slightly louder than the students, decoding those hard words, and the students are following along. Wednesday and Thursday, we have the students partner reading. And Friday, the students are completing repeated readings. Reflection. So after this plan of instruction, students can decode best when breaking down words into syllables and syllable types. The students were aware of the vowel sounds that were made in each syllable type, and they felt confident when decoding the words by the syllable types. And I have seen improvement on the isolated word list when the students were reading for accuracy, just in week 1. And week 1 was completed as of 2015. Oops. Reflection. One student told me that when he learned about syllable types in 1st and 2nd grade in the Foundations program, he had no understanding of why they were learning them. So students are introduced to these syllable types. They are told to mark them, but a lot of students don't know why they're marking these syllables. But now as a 4th grader, he was able to see the connection that knowing the syllable types helps break down the word into chunks, which is a lot easier to decode. For the fluency component, the students enjoyed the choral reading that was done in week 1. We read the word list chorally as well as small decodable paragraphs on students' independent level. The students expressed to me that they liked the consistency of the choral reads that were done with the teacher. I believe they liked it so much because there was less pressure on their decoding skills and they could just follow along and really practice their fluency. So this is part of my reflection. Future questions. Here's some questions that I have after my plan of instruction. When the students are proficient with the 6 syllable types and when their skills increase, when is it appropriate to introduce affixes and roots? Would it be appropriate to give the student the WIST assessment again to progress monitor? Would I begin the next month of instruction with a morpheme units as stated in my research-based strategy? And that is all. Thank you.